Hey guys, Nathan at Duck River Honey, and today I want to talk about spring colony management. It's amazing, but just a few days ago it was 60 degrees and I was watching honeybees collect pollen from hen-bitten dead nettle that was in full bloom. Bees were going crazy here, just flying everywhere. I got my first sting of the year because I got too close to a hive entrance. It was just a really good time to be in the bee yard. It was just neat. So then this morning it was 8 degrees Fahrenheit with a feels like of -2 with wind chill and humidity, and we won't get out of the 20s for another couple days. And this is a lesson in spring management. Spring management is very much like driving a car with one foot on the gas and the other on the brake. That's the best analogy I can come up with. All of the seasons of management in colonies are important, but for different reasons. Spring management really determines your income from the colonies for the year. Fall and winter management can determine your survival rate through the winter, but spring management really determines your income for the season. So the major income sources from honeybees are going to be honey. You can also sell wax and propolis and pollen, and you can do splits and sell packages, and you can sell nukes. So all of those benefit from a big population in your hives. And therefore it is very tempting to get your hives started building up earlier in the spring by stimulative feeding. So I could have been feeding sugar syrup in my hives. I could have been putting pollen patties in to encourage these hives to expand the brood nest. The risk in stimulative feeding at this time of year is if you get a weather event like this where it gets super cold for a prolonged period, the bees may have to abandon that expanded brood nest in order to go to a tight cluster, and then you'll have chilled brood, stressed colony, and they'll waste resources. So it's very much like driving a car with one foot on the gas and one on the brake. You want them to grow, but you don't want them to go too fast. So that's the first lesson I've got for you in spring management. So it is the last week of February now. The winter storm that wrecked most of the country is over with. We had temperatures in the single digits. We had snow and ice for about a week. We've still got a little bit in spots now, but it's fast receding. It's 65 degrees today, believe it or not. The bees, I expect, are going crazy, and I'm excited. I'm like a kid on Christmas because I am about to get into a hive for the first time since October of last year, November, sometime in there. It's been months. It's been a long time. The only reason that I'm getting in is because I did my winter assessments, which I do periodically through the cold season. And that's just where I'm looking for dead outs. I'm monitoring stores, and I found a couple of hives that I thought were a little bit light. They're not empty of stores, but they are noticeably lighter than all the others. And they're my 2 package hives, coincidentally. the hives that or the swarms that I caught that are from around here, they're all still really heavy. But the 2 packages were a little light, so I am going to suit up and give them a bit of syrup today. Not a lot. I'll give them about a gallon a piece, and just basically give them a splash of syrup to make sure that they make it through this nectar dearth that we're in. Hen-bitten dead nettle are still blooming. The blooms came out from underneath the snowpack, and I saw bees working it today. I don't know how that cold weather affects that stuff, though. I don't know if they're actually gathering nectar and pollen from it, or if it's dried up now that we had that weather. But regardless, the risk here is we've got lots of flight weather coming up. Every day it's going to be above 50, and that means the bees will go out and they'll expend a lot of energy looking for food, and they're not going to find much of it. So they can drastically increase their consumption of their winter stores, and they can run out of food like that. And a hive goes from fine to dead really quickly. So I'm just going to splash these guys with some syrup and just make sure that they get through this. I'm expecting them to be pretty defensive today. Oh man, good population. This is the mite bomb hive from last fall. I've had several people ask about it. As you can tell, they seem to be doing fine. Hive beetle. I'm not going to mess with them too much. I just want to get them some feed. Calm down, girls, calm down. You're okay. I'll take this extra propolis off the top bars and use that in swarm traps. They seem to have plenty. And I really want to dive into this one. Well, I'd say they've got some stores. They're pretty light, but they're not that light. See if we've got any brood started. If they were going to have any, I would expect it to be here. Pollen. Capped honey. See any eggs there? Don't see any eggs there. Let's take a look at the next frame. A lot of bees, goodness. Wow. Eggs. So she has just started laying here. I don't know if you can see this or not with the light. She has just started laying. Come on, girls, get out of the way. All right, so that tells me I'm not too far behind them. If I get my space added in the next week, I think I'll be okay. I'm still gonna splash these guys with some syrup because I made it, but they don't need it. They've got stores. Let's check oil trays while we're here. Looks like I got some water in the tray. A few dead hive beetles. Not much for Varroa. I need to clean these out. That's a hive beetle, hive beetle, hive beetle, hive beetle. Looks like bee parts. A few Varroa down in there. Not too many. I was a little concerned that these two were a lot lighter than the rest, but they've got plenty to eat. They look really healthy. They've got a big population. In fact, they've got a screaming population, so I'm gonna have to get on them quick with some extra space, or they are going to start thinking about swarming now. And once they get in that mode, it's hard to correct them. So I need to get them expanding their nest versus swarming. That'll be the next thing that I have to worry about in the spring management is I need a high population so the bees can go out and have a lot of foragers in a big field force and produce a big honey crop, But when you have a strong hive with a high population, they want to reproduce, they want to swarm. So I've got to try to get them into expansion mode and build the hive up instead of putting energy into swarming. That's what spring management is about. It's one foot on the gas, one on the brake. You want to speed them up, but slow them down at the same time.